There's no doubt about it. We fear rain. We wear our trench coats and our umbrellas and all that to avoid getting hit by some lousy droplets of water. But what is it that makes us fear it? It's not something we learn, it's something deep that resonates within us. An unexplainable repulsion towards getting ourselves wet during a downpour. It's not a learnt fear, it's instinctive. Instinct. Small word for such a huge idea. I've lived in the countryside for 4 months now, and now I'm back in the city. The neighbors used to tell me to nail the windows shut for about 2 or 3 weeks right after I started living there, but it was the beginning of the summer, and with the heat of the sun, I wasn't going to do something as stupid as that. At least, I thought it was stupid. You know that smell, the one that rises up just before the rain starts falling on you? In the city, people will always say it's the smell of watered earth, the dirt getting wet, bacteria and plants receiving the rain. But the people who have never been in the country, they haven't the faintest idea. You see, the cities, the huge metropolis has not always been there. Mankind has been living in nature far more than it has been living in the cities. That's why we still have the instinct to fear the rain. It's not the smell of death or earth or dirt or bacteria or plants. It's their smell. They come out in the rain and they seek to mate. But they cannot hold their own. They have to retreat hastily as soon as the rain gives in and the water stops. I didn't nail my windows shut, and as soon as the rain came, I started hearing it. Have you ever heard the tiny, almost unnoticeable hum or pitch that TVs make when they're turned on? Have you ever felt a pressure on your chest when a low-pitched beat is heard? Those are the things that filled the air. That smell and those moans. High and low thumping moans. It's the smell they follow. I came home a bit wet, for the rain started on my way home. I started hearing those noises sometime after I entered the house. Then the scratching on my door began. I went to check it through the window, and what I saw was horrible. What at first looked like a giant worm was in fact a humanoid thing, with its lower body being one long leg or tail. Its small, atrophied arms were strong enough to allow them to crawl and slither. And its face, it looked like it had been petrified. The only thing that looked like it was in use was its nose. It moved. As soon as I got close to the window, its face shifted towards me. The window was slightly open, and now I know it turned because it could smell me. It moved towards the window, but it wasn't strong enough to pull itself inside, and I had enough time to close it. Soon enough it turned, trying to sense the smell, my odor, and after a while more of them came. From the hills came an entire legion of those things, 300, 400 maybe. Thoughts of monkeys running up towards high rocks and climbing trees came to mind. These are the things we feared since the dawn of time. After a while, the macabre sight became something I couldn't stand. The noise was so much I couldn't sleep, and those things were so ugly and disgusting. Yet I could not stop watching. Soon I saw the old stray dog that wandered around. It was a dirty dog, must have been about 15 years old. Too old to run, too old to live. They grabbed hold of his paws. 1, 2, 3, 5. The dog started howling and tried to bite one and then the other. Soon they overpowered the poor animal, and then it happened. From their chests came out a sting. 1, 2, 3, 5. They all started stinging the poor beast, and after that all they could turn to see was the east. They started crawling as fast as they could toward the plains, and they disappeared as fast as they came. The dog lay motionless, but it seemed like parts of him breathed, that at intervals parts of his body would pulsate. Then suddenly the dog jumped up on all fours and looked renewed. It started running like he was a young pup, and then it went running towards the plains and disappeared from my sight. And when morning broke, I took nails and wood planks and nailed my windows shut. Not even one hole was left. I even checked for other holes in the walls and the door. God, I was starting to get paranoid. I left the house to get some groceries from the neighbors. They had their own farm and had a lot of things for sale, but we're talking farms here. The distance I had to travel was about a mile or two to their house, and when I got there, black, menacing clouds were nearing. The neighbors were cold and quick. They gave me the eggs, milk, some honey, meat, but told me if I wanted to live, I should stay for the night. I remembered the last night, but I still hadn't made the connection of rain and monsters, so I declined the offer and hurried back, while the farmer behind me yelled I should stay if I valued my life. The rain started midway toward my house. I was wet within the first 10 seconds of rain, as it was a real downpour. I felt the smell of rain once more, and then I heard the sounds again, the high-pitched noise, the low thumping. I wet my pants when I saw the first one of those things crawling towards me, its nose like a black eye moving right in my vision. I dropped what I was carrying and I ran for my life. Even though they crawled, they were pretty fast. I was beginning to lose my breath when suddenly once again the image of monkeys climbing trees came to me. I remembered. It couldn't lift itself through my window. I realized I had a small hope for surviving this, but I had some hope. While I was running, I turned to see left and right. All I needed was something off the ground, something they couldn't climb up to. The farmer's barn. I could see if he left his old wood ladder on the side of it. All I had to do was set it up, climb it, and then raise it so they couldn't follow. It was heavier than I thought, but I was truly terrified of what would happen if I didn't raise it. When I had put it in place, one of those things, faster than those of its kind, tried to stab me with its sting. I could see all of it like I was in slow motion. I grabbed the sting with both hands while the thing kept trying to nail me with it. An egg came out of it while I tried to keep it away from me. I pushed the thing to the side and the egg fell to the ground. It started to move and pulsate, but then it just stopped. The exterior turned to stone. As soon as that happened, I heard the clamor of those things, stronger and more penetrating than ever. I saw that the one thing which tried to stab me was now writhing as if it were in pain. I didn't hesitate for 1 minute. I felt rage within me, so I started to kick it. Then I started to stomp its head in. I ran up the ladder, and then I raised it towards me up to the barn's roof. I don't know how I managed to, but I fell asleep. And the next morning I was woken by the farmer's wife yelling at me. She kept asking me why I was there. I put the ladder, went down, found that little stone ball, and the skeleton of a dog with its skull bashed in. Why had I never seen one of these things until now? Why did this only happen in a place like this? And then it all came to me. The egg, the rain, the smell of wet people. What about those flashes in my mind? Are those memories of a time long gone? People around here, the environment around here, it's all very much like the one it was some thousands of years ago. The only thing that's changed around here is the houses. That's only the new thing. And those memories of the past came to me because this thing, it's the primal fear. We've been running from the rain and water for so long, even when we were unevolved chimps, we ran from it. And we ran from the ground as well. I left that place as quickly as I could. I only spent one more night in those plains. I heard the screams and the thumps. This time they came from my house and my aroma alone. I had killed one of their eggs. I knew it was because of this. How else could one explain all that ruckus that happened when the infected dog dropped the egg? They beat on the door. They slammed their bodies against it. They kept moaning and scratching and hitting and weeping, smelling my fear. However, this time the rain stopped quickly and they ran away. But I'm writing this now because I'm scared of them. I came back to the city, but maybe I should have let them take me. Instead, I've brought this plague with me back to the city. They're on the other side of my door and it's raining outside. It has been for a really long time. Because even now, even we don't know about them, deep inside, we still fear them. Oh God, the rain won't stop. It's been 3 days and I'm beginning to lose it. They claw at the door, and I don't know how much more the door will resist. They're taking it down. They smell my fear.